Welcome to Level Up with CMJ. Hey, my name is Joe, and this is my Craftsmaster dice shooting journey. Let's make it yours too. We're going to continue on with the blue belt level today. Today is episode number 60. And what we're going to do is I started off throwing the other day. I had 50 throws in. So we're going to start off right where we left off there. And we will get going here. So we're going to use the 5-4-5-4 hardware set. We're going to do 100 throws, like I said. And a couple things we can go through after we get through this first shooter. Things that happened this past weekend. We have a 1-4-5. No field 5 is our new point. Okay, and everything went through on Roll Tracker. And my left die is always the darker die, the black one. If I'm using red and blue dice, it's always the red die. And I use two different colored dice so that way you can see which dice is doing what, and that way you can enter it in appropriately into the KPI Roll Tracker as well as Bone Tracker. And we have a 3-4-7. So that was a 0.7 out. Short first roll. And we're going to look for a new point. Took a day off here, so we got to get the grip down decent again. And we have a 3-3 hard 6. And we have a 4-6-10. Waylon's best friend on the end, Papa Joe. Good morning, Craig. Happy Saturday morning or Sunday morning to you as well. And happy daylight savings time as well. I know that we're going to have a very low turnout today because it is daylight savings time. So this will be kind of an hour before what I normally go at. But I do go at 8 o'clock Central Time every morning. And we have a 6-6 hard 12 boxcars midnight. Working third shift like I do, time is not really relevant to me as far as time of day. I sleep when it's time to sleep, and I wake up when it's time to wake up. And this morning, I woke up very early. Was not able to sleep any longer. We have a 2-4-6. 6 came easy. So I got up and I started working on the ebook this morning. Got a couple more pages done on that. Almost done with that first video, and I am at about 19 pages already on the ebook. So I'm going to be pretty detailed as far as the table build goes. And we have a 5-1-6 mixer. Chris from Sideshow Gamble. Hopefully he's doing well over where he's at. So you have a set of white dice and they're very slippery. Would you recommend gripping closer to the table? I'm not sure what you're referring to by gripping closer to the table, Craig. Um, if you can elaborate on that, I would love to see if I can answer that question. And we have a 6-6 hard 12 again, midnight. And I know that's no such thing as a hard 12, but I like saying that, so I will probably keep on saying that. And we have a leaner. It's going to be a 1. Whoop, it rolled over to 2, but it was actually a 1. So we have a 5-1 mixer. And we're going on roll number 8 here. That was the point, by the way. So we are going to be looking for a new point. And there we have a come out 7, a 5-2-7. That's a double pitch. So that came at a good time there. And we have a 5-4 center field 9. So 9 will be a new point. So he goes, Craig is saying, so if you're doing the normal par grip where your finger and thumb are about halfway down or closer to, would you change having your fingers and thumb further? Okay. As far as the grip goes with the par grip, first of all, let me pre-qualify myself here, Craig. I don't use the par grip. I use a three-fingered front diagonal. So when I get into my dice grip, I'm actually grabbing the ends of the dice. Now, what you're saying is going with the three-finger par grip, which is normally grabbing about quarter to halfway down with the front of the dice. And he said his dice are really slippery. So he's asking if he can throw them a little bit further down. And throwing them further down or putting your fingers closer to the table would make sense if the dice are grippy. But the one thing you want to make sure that you do is when you do that, do not push the dice so they split. So don't push the dice with your thumb. That's going to be one of the things that you will probably run into if you take that deeper grip. Whereas if you take a shallower grip, and my dice are medium slippery now, take that shallower grip, and that way they can roll off your fingertips rather than having the possibility of pushing and splitting the dice. So um, the grip that I'm using, a lot of people do call the Uri grip. According to Ed Robinson, and I've never seen the actual Uri grip. According to Ed Robinson, the Uri grip is a little bit different than what I do, even though a lot of people consider it the Uri grip. So it would be a Uri grip style, if you would. So what I do is I put the dice together. I put it right on top of that L there. I use my index finger and my pinky to push the dice together tight as I place my thumb on the center of the corner there. And then I roll it and I place my middle finger. So that way I'm set up like this. And then all I do is I place my index and my ring finger onto the dice. I start off with a slight angle, about the angle of the A here. The reason being is because when I release it at my top point, my dice are going to be square to the back wall. So let me get into the grip again here. That's kind of a recap of how I set the dice or grip the dice. And the left one took off a little bit on me there, but we got a 5-4-9, center field 9. And that is our point. So we are doing repeat numbers here. My throwing angle camera, how far is it? How far back is your camera? The camera right here is probably 1.5 feet, 2 feet away from my hand, and it is about 11.5 feet away from that back wall. So this camera right here. The camera down over here is located probably about 3 feet from my back wall, I would say, somewhere in that area. And the camera right here is right above the cum box circle right here. Well, hopefully that answers your questions. So I use 3 cell phones for my cameras. And they're all tied together with a program. If interested in which program I tie them together with, send me a message on Discord. I would be happy to answer that question. I'm more than happy to help whoever out if they want to get started in the YouTube journey. 246. So our new point will be 6. But feel free to ask questions, Craig. That's not a problem. We are here all to work together as a community to help grow this community so we can all prosper together. And we have a 5-4-9 again. So hopefully, Craig, that dice grip explanation helped a little bit. I'm hoping it did at least. This is roll number 13 for this shooter. I believe this is our second shooter today. First roll was pretty short. Dice crossed right at the end. We have a 2, 5, 7, and that is a 7 out. Double pitch of the dice. I have got this camera right here set up, and I'll just move it slightly here, guys, so you can see. Just slightly so I can, if I'm standing right here, this is where I'm standing, is right here. So I just have it set it so that way it sees all the way down to the back wall. And then I know I have it set every time because like I said, I use cell phones. I know I have it set right all the time because I set these dice right here, and I don't move them. So that way I know that it's located on my screen properly for my setup. So if that makes sense also, I'm not sure if that did or not. And we have a 6-5-11 mid-milio. And that is a come out winner. By the way, I had a sharpshooter on that second shooter. Sharpshooter paid out. So they call it a natural. And that one, the dice went right into the mixing bowl. We have a 5-1 mixer. 6 came easy. Not a problem, Craig. Not a problem. I don't mind helping out or sharing. Again, if you do want to call, send me a message on Discord. I'd be happy to talk to you in person. I can give you my phone number there, and we can discuss all those specifics if you want, or things that I do. 314 Big Joe from Craftsmaster Journey. That's our first four for the day. So, videos from this weekend. Craig is one of our chat participants today. And Craig on Friday Night Fights went up against, I believe his name is Gaynor. I have a hard time saying that. And Craig was behind. 314 again, Big Joe from Crossmaster Journey. Craig was from behind and did amazing little betting setup, if you will, right at the end, and he actually pulled out the victory. It's an amazing match to watch. You guys need to check that out. And again, that's Friday Night Fights. It's from on Casino Gaming TV, and it was Craig from Obey Craps up against Gaylor. And we have a 369. It's the first time we had the 3-6 today. I'm sorry, Glenn, not Gaylor, is Glenn. I apologize for that. I knew it started with a G. I'm getting old memory here. So that went on Friday night. Toss is a little bit low, but we have a 2-6-8, easy 8. And then we also had Alfredo going live multiple times this weekend. And he did 2 of his Talking Craps with Alfredo shows, one last night and one 2 nights ago. And I actually participated 2 nights ago. It was a fun show. And in fact, 2 nights ago, when he had his Talking Craps, I did my third round of my shooting competition. So for the shooting round, our competition, we have a 4-6-10 Waylon's best friend on the end, Papa Joe. The shooting competition began again this weekend. It was a third round, the start of the third round. And we've had 3 shooters go so far. Magic Aces went, myself, and then last night in the wee hours of the morning, Bird Dog 301 went. And right now, Bird Dog is in the lead at 27 tosses, 27 throws. So that's an amazing, amazing number. Probably is going to pull off first place for this round. 1, 2, 3, Ace Deuce, Alfredo sauce. And I'm in second place at the current moment. I had a 14 throw. So we have 3 people down. We have 13 more to go because we're in the round of 16 going down to the round of 8. So the top 8 move on, and then we're going to go into a different type of scoring type situation. And we have a 2, 4, 6, easy 6. So this round of 3, is the best of 2 shooters. And what you do is you shoot 2 shooters worth, and they'll take the best of the 2 for your high score. But here's what's different with this round compared to the last round. What's different with this round is they're going to take the average of what you have. And we have a 3-3 hard 6. They're going to take the average of both throws, and that's going to be how they rank you for the next round. So, for example, the one who shoots and has the highest average is going to go up against the one with the lowest average in the next round. So it's important to do 2 good throws. I did not do 2 good throws. I had a 14 and a 4, I believe. So I have an average of a 9. Bird Dog did a 27 and a 4. So that gives him an average of about 15 and a half or 16. So he's going to have a pretty high average. We have 1, 3, 4, Big Joe from Grassmaster Journey. So he's going to have a pretty big average, so more than likely, and we'll see how it goes, because there's a lot of really good shooters that are left in the competition, but we'll see how it goes. He will more than likely, if I have to put money on it, will be first place going into the next round, which he's been consistently placing high in the rankings for each round. So that kind of gives some support, some proof. 426, easy 6. And that is our point. So that does give some credibility to shooting and how some people do have capability to shoot consistently in long, consistent rolls. And we have a 4, 5, 9, center field 9. So our new point is 9. And that's kind of why I'm on this journey as well, to see how we do as far as consistency goes with the throwing, just to prove or disprove the actual ability to do so. And so far, I've been liking the results. If you go back to my last episode 59, I share, we have a 5-1 mixer. I share the results of all my throws up through 2,500 throws, actually 2,504 throws. And if you look at the numbers that are in there, and I have, towards the end of the video, I show the results. No, I'm sorry, in the beginning of the video, I show the results. And on the left-hand side of the screen, it shows the on-axis throws, the off-axis throws, and both dice off-axis. And those numbers are very consistent with what is expected for a person throwing a dice. 2, 3, 5, no field 5. But where the difference comes in, and this is what really I'm excited about, is the number distributions. And that would be on the left-hand side when you look at my results. Again, go back to episode 59 to find that. And the numbers are way different. There's 4 or 5 strong numbers or signature numbers that I have, at least for the first 2,500 throws, that keep on showing up all of the time. And this 9, 549, which I'm doing really well on today, is actually one of my signature numbers. The 4, the 5, the 6, and the 9 are them. But if you look at those numbers on there, I also am very deficient. Also, the 2 is a very strong number. But if you look at the numbers on there, I am also very deficient on other numbers. So, for example, the 8 and the 10 are 2 numbers that I roll way less than what is expected. So, to me, that gives some credibility to the ability to throwing dice. We have a 4-2-6 to throwing a dice and coming up with consistent pockets of numbers. The other thing that I'm finding is the longer that I have been practicing here, and this is roll number 17, go to number 18. The longer that I've been practicing here and the further into this journey I'm getting, the more consistent and the longer my rolls are becoming. So I'm getting consistently more longer rolls. But then that's peppered in, and this is where the averages come in. 5-1 mixer. This is where the averages come in now. That's peppered in with some shorter rolls, but they're consistently getting longer. So that's kind of neat to see as this journey progresses. And keep in mind, we're only doing the hard way set right now. And that's only because we're on the blue belt level. We're doing 5,000 throws with this hardware set. And we have a 5-2-7. That's a double pitch. And that is a come out 7. That's awesome to see. So we're going to continue this roll. But we're only using the hardware set right now. Once we get to that purple belt level, we're going to start changing the dice sets around, either according to what Bone Tracker is doing, or to what we are seeing with the dice results, the throwing of the dice. And we have a 4-1-5, no field 5, so that is our new point. So you look at my numbers today, and we're throwing a ton of 9s, a ton of 8s. 6s, we've thrown a lot of them. Remember that we have first 50 throws are from the last episode, from episode 50. Now we're carrying over from that. But we have 24 6s thrown in the last 85 rolls. So tell me that that's not either a coincidence or some kind of proof that we can actually do this. We can actually throw pockets and numbers and be consistent on that. And we have a 3-2-5. I'm sorry, a 2-3-5. No field 5. So we're doing quite a bit of 5s again today. And we have a 4-3-7. That's a double pitch. And again, that is a come out 7. That's one of the nice things about throwing pockets, because you hit those, or you may set a point and you can hit it right away. Something that recently I've been doing quite a bit of, and it's taken me a while to get to this point. I've been known to not hit my points, but to spread the numbers on it. I really hit the ATS quite a bit, the tall or the small, depending on the day. And we have another 4-3, our 3-4-7, another double pitch. And that's still come out, so that's pass line winner. That does extend our roll. So that was roll number 23, going at 24 right now. The left die took off a little bit, went a little bit higher, but we have a 5-5 hard 10. So we're going to start off with that hard 10 for the new point. And that is our 4th point. So let's see if we hit that so we can get that fire bet. Now this is one of the numbers that I do not throw often. So if I can hit this point, that'll be an amazing feat for me even. And we have a 6-5 mid-mo yo. Chiro in the house. I was just looking to see how close I am to the ATS, but I'm an idiot because those come out 7s reset that ATS. So that's something that is a downfall of a come out 7. Now I was a little bit short on that throw. Came up a little bit short, but we have a 2-5-7, and that is a 7 out double pitch. But that was an amazing roll. That was a 26 roller. So that is nice to see. And we look at our SOR, we have a 9.5 SOR and SRR of 5.1. We're only 91 throws in for this. We're going to go up to 150 today. remember that 50 of those were from the other day. And I only did 50 the other day, and that was the first time I really did a short roll for a live stream. And I only did 50 the other day because, first of all, I was throwing terrible. 235, that's our new point. But second of all, I had just come in from removing like 6 to 8 inches of snow that day. And it was a really wet, heavy snow that day. So it was a little tired that morning. And the results of the throws actually did show that. And we have a 5-2-7. Again, that's a 7 out double pitch again. So we've been getting a lot of double pitches the last few throws. And the double pitches come usually either from the way it hits the back wall. And if you watch they've been hitting the wall hard and coming to rest like immediately. The second reason that double pitch occurs is if your fingers get too deep on the dice. And I don't think that's the case on my throw right now because I am right at the fingertips on both my front 3 fingers as well as my thumb. So we're going to try to change that landing zone just a little bit. And we have a 2-2 hard 4. It's the first hard 4 we've had today. So our new point is 4. So what was the exciting thing that everybody did this weekend? Leave it in the chat. I spent the entire day, the entire time this weekend at home. We have a person battling COVID in our house. This is our 4th or 5th day with it, and I luckily have not gotten it. 2-3, Checker, Ace Deuce, Alfredo sauce. I fortunately have not gotten it. I've been very vigilant on how I'm washing and handling myself around the house. In fact, we are going through deep cleaning the house. That's why I did not go live yesterday. Spent 5 hours just cleaning the kitchen yesterday. Which you probably needed it anyhow. So we have a 1-3-4 Big Joe from Craps Master Journey. So hopefully that individual will be doing better. Thank you, Craig. We'll be doing better within the next day or two, and we'll be able to get back to work. And 4-3-7. That is a double pitch. So we had that one really nice long roll. We've had a couple shorter rolls here now. And that's about average. And that's why and that's one of the things we're going to be doing is putting together a betting program. But that's why we need to really capitalize on those longer rolls when they do happen when we're at the casino, so that way we can make some money. Because these shorter rolls are going to kind of average some of that out. But again, like I said, our length of our rolls are getting longer on average, which is really, really nice to see. And that's happening the more that we start practicing, the more that we have been practicing, I should say. And we have a 1-5 mixer. 1-5 mixer. And we have about 52 throws left, approximately. Left die slipped out a little bit. It was a little bit higher than the right die, but we have a 1-4-5. And remember now, guys, with the blue belt level, there's several things that we are working on and training ourselves to do. So that way, when we go to 2 dice of the same color, we can hopefully track what each dice is doing. And one of the things is we're trying to do in this level is we're trying to watch at least one of the die from our hand all the way to the end of the table. And that way you can see which dice is doing which. We have a 3, 6, 9, so that we on, and I'm probably going to be doing this on the purple belt level, but we'll see. But when we get to that purple belt level, we'll be able to see which dice is doing which when we're using the same color die. So just something to kind of consider, kind of train yourself a little bit as we go forward in the process. Again, we're just over the halfway point for the blue belt level, just over halfway for the 20 or 5,000 throws. So we have a 2-2 hard 4. 4 came hard. And if you guys notice, my dice are splitting apart somewhat at the end. So what's happening is they're hitting down and they're staying close to the back wall, but one ends up over here, one ends up over there. And the reason for that, and this is something that actually Alfredo talked about on his Talking Craps with Alfredo 2 nights ago, about how when I'm throwing, my dice are staying so close together almost all the way down. And what's happening is they're hitting and they're almost too close and they're hitting and they're throwing out to the side. So I guess that's a blessing and a curse all at the same time. Blessing because they are staying together, which is one of my goals that I want to see have happen. I don't want them to split apart in midair like that one kind of did. And we have a 3, 4, 7. And that is a 7-out double pitch. So I don't want to see that happen that much. And it was only a small split, that one right there, but it still was a split. But when they're staying tight together, then that usually tells me that the revolutions, how fast the dice are spinning, and they're both similar revolutions. So they're both similar to each other all the way down. And another 4, 3, 7. This is a come out 7, another double pitch. So we got rid of that double pitch for a couple throws, and now it's coming back again. And the reason I know it's a, good morning, Chiro. The reason I know it's a double pitch is because any 4-3 or any 5-2 with this hardware set is a double pitch. And that leads to a 7 on any hardware set. A double pitch is a 7. The other way you get that 7 is if you have a implosion and a double implosion, or either a double explosion. That's where your other 6s come from in this set, and that's a 6-1 or a 1-6. So if I see those numbers, that means that that is a double off-axis throw, and I'm not really wanting that because I want to try to keep it either on axis and either primary and single pitch, like this is, or the other thing is one die off axis. That's a 1, 4, 5. And if I go one die off axis, that's fine also because that will not produce a 7. So I'm fine with that. And we have a 6-5 mid-mo. Yo! Chiro's in the house here. So if you guys are just joining in and you haven't caught up on the local or latest crap stuff, Bird Dog 301 did go last night. He threw with George from CY, so check out George's channel. And he had an amazing roll. He had a 27 roller. So that puts him way into first place. 325, no field 5. So that puts him way into first place. And like I said, I had a 14 the other day. And everybody's saying 14 is a good number. I have a question about that. I question whether that's going to be enough to get me to the top 8. Again, like I said, there's going to be a ton of good shooters left here. And only the top 8 go through. So if that 14 is good enough, I think we have another 2-2 hard 4. If that 14 is good enough, it's probably going to be barely good enough, if I have to guess, to get me through. So it's going to be close. And again, like I said, this is only 2 shooters worth. And I'm not trying to make excuses here, but guys, but I am relatively new in this dice shooting journey. We are learning hopefully together. And granted, I have come a long ways. That is our bad 7 right now. 167. That's the 7 I do not want to see. The other one doesn't bother me as much, but that's a 7 out. Now is another short roll. But we're still looking good on our numbers. We have an SOR of 8.3 at the current moment, an SRR at 4.7. We've had 10 come out 7, so not too bad so far. And keep in mind, this is in addition to our throws from the other day. So we have about 42 throws left for today. Now one seemed like it came out a little bit long. We have a 5-1 mixer. We'll see if we can get that off, but that is a 1. And it rolled. But we have a 5-1, not a 5-3. I'm sorry, a 1-5. Last night on Alfredo's Talking Craps with Alfredo. By the way, it's Texas Crap Shooters, if you don't know. We were talking about my throwing journey. I was in the chat and they were talking about it. Oh my God. I don't even think the dice got 3/4 of the way down the table. That was terrible. One of them at least hit the back wall. The other one did not, but we still counted here. 6-6, midnight. But they were talking about my throwing and the 100 throws that I try to do a day, which almost everybody that was on the panel thought that was a high number. And I had talked about my my habits. In other words, I do 100 throws whether I'm tired or not. And the other day was an exception. I was in the mixing bowl. That was not a good throw, but we have a 5-4 center field 9. But I'm consistently doing 100 throws or close to 100 throws a day. And the reason I do that, guys, is first of all, because I want to get these 5,000 in. I want to get to the next belt level. But also, I'm a very habitual person. Um, for those of you that don't know, I have minor Tourette's. And one of the side effects of Tourette's, 549, center field 9, one of the side effects of Tourette's is OCD. So I have OCD to get these damn 100 throws in every single day. And if I don't get them in, it becomes, good morning, Brian, it becomes a deal for me. It really does. Because I need consistency in my life. I need habits. I need regular things happening in order to keep them going. So in other words, if I start going shorter, we have a 5-2-7, and that is a 7 out, another short roll, double pitch. And if I don't keep things going, I will let it slide. So I want to make sure that I'm consistent, that I'm doing this and I'm getting in what I'm saying I'm going to be doing. The other thing they were talking about on the show was with that 100 throws is the transparency of everything. Another one right in the mixing bowl. I need to start bringing it back over to the end here, but we have a 4-4 hard 8 square pair. So our new point will be 8. And when I talk about transparency, when I started this journey, I made the promise to myself, but also to everybody else, that I'm going to be doing everything on camera. All 5,000 throws are going to be on camera, so that way nothing can be disputed, and everybody knows exactly what's happening with this journey. Like John from Pro Craps, we have a 5-5 hard 10. Like John with Pro Craps says, he wants to prove or disprove this whole dice influence thing. And that's kind of the same thing for me. I want to make sure that this is possible. And so far along the journey, everything does look possible. Everything does look like we're able to do things with the dice to get, like I said, get these consistent pockets of numbers. 459, center field 9. But the numbers will show the results. And we have a lot of people out there that are doubters, a lot of people that are haters, a lot of people that don't believe in the actual daily practicing of throwing the dice. They don't think that any kind of influence can be done. 628. And that was one of my goals, is to go through and either prove or disprove what can actually be done. So again, you guys, it's been a long journey so far, and this is awesome. And that's kind of an answer to the topic the other night for Alfredo's discussion on why do 100 throws and why do it consistently. The other reason I do 100 throws, I got lots of reasons. 4, 6, 10. So we've been hitting a lot of 10s now, which is usually one of my weaker numbers. And our point is 10. The other reason I do 100 throws a day is to condition myself. If I'm going to be going to play craps at the casino, and let's say I get on a good roll, I don't want to get tired. I don't want to lose focus. I want to condition myself to be able to throw a lot of throws in a single session, 2, 4, 6. In a single session. So that way it's not like any big deal. Kind of like Vince Lombardi says, act like you've been there before. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing a lot of throws. So that way, if something amazing happens, it's not going to be a big deal to me. If I have a 30, 40, 50 roller at the casino, which almost never happens for anybody, but we have a 2, 3, 5. But hopefully, like I said, it never hardly ever happens for anybody. But when it does, it won't be a big deal because you know what, guys? I've practiced enough, and hopefully we'll have gotten something like that. Thank you, Craig. Good morning, Alpine. So anyhow, that's kind of where I'm at with all that type of stuff. I know I'm kind of going on a little run of jabbering here. And we have a 527. That was one of those where, and that was a 7 out. That was one of those where it actually looked like it hit nice. I was actually happy with throwing it. That was a double pitch. Longest roll at the casino is what Hal is asking. Honestly, I don't know what my longest throw at the casino is, because the last time I actually threw dice at the casino was before I started this journey. I have not been going to the casino much lately, and if I have, I've been playing bubble craps. And the reason I haven't is I want to start this journey 4, 6, 10, and I want to get to the point where I'm consistent with my throwing. I know what the dice are doing. I can adjust it, and all that type of stuff. And I want to make sure that this journey has been to the point where I'm not rushing out and trying to use these skills, if that makes sense. I think it's Golden Touch talks about how no, maybe it's Axis Power Craps. I'm not sure. One of them talks about how they encourage the people to learn the skills and practice them at home before running out. We got 369 before running out and using them in the casino, and hopefully getting some kind of false sense of hope. But before I started training here, so I've done some minor training on my own in the past, but my longest roll in the casino is somewhere around 30 to 32. And I did it a couple different times, and I think one of them was like a 20 and one was like a 30 in the same night. And that was before I started training on a consistent basis. 538. So, like I said, my casino time has been limited as of lately, and that is because I'm on this journey and I want to make sure that I get this down. The next part of my journey that I want to get down before I actually start consistently going to the casino again is coming up with a shooting or betting system. And I've talked about this in the past. And we have a 4-5-9. I've talked about this in the past. And what I mean by a betting system is I'm going to change my betting from a matter of going out with a how can I say this? With going from a strategy based to a system based. So I'm going to make it shooter based instead of a strategy based. And that's going to be on myself at least. 358. When it comes to other shooters, I'll probably go back to that strategy based betting. I'm not sure exactly right now how I'm going to do that. I know normally when I go to a casino, I start off with the horseman. And then I go from the horseman right to the skill 66 once I get a good idea of what the shooters are doing at the table, including myself. And that's what I do right now. 1-5 mixer. But I want to become more of a better, kind of like Alfredo does, Ed Robinson does, and they bet on the shooter. They bet on themselves. They try to identify the patterns that are going on at the table, and that's what type of system I want to set up. And that's probably going to be one of the things we're going to work on in the purple belt level, which is the next belt level. 5-5-10, hard 10. Been throwing a lot of the hard 10s today. That's not a norm for me, so that's good to see that that's starting to come in. And that was the point, so we're looking for a point here. New point. So we guaranteed at least 9 rolls in this shooter. And we have a 5-2-7. And I will tell you what on that one, guys, I kind of knew that 7 was going to come, and I've explained this in the past, and it's a habit that I have. When I set the dice and I grip them, sometimes I get a small hairline fracture between the two dice, and I can't adjust it without putting the dice down. So you guys can kind of see that split a little bit right there. And if I don't adjust it, that 5-2 comes up almost every single time. So I kind of knew that was coming, which is fine because it was a come out 7. So, and again, I talk about this all the time. I need to get in the habit, which I don't, but I need to get in that habit of setting the dice down. We have a 1-3-4 Big Joe from Craps Master Journey. But I need to get in that habit of setting the dice down and regripping it. And that's something, like I said, I've talked about so many times already, yet I've still failed to do it. So I need to start taking that initiative and setting the example and leading by example for everybody. And it just happened right again. So those dice split right in the front, and they don't feel like they're in line, but now they do. So let's see what happens. And we have a 6-3-9 center field 9. So you saw how those dice split apart. That's because they're coming down so close together when they land that they're actually hitting each other and splitting off, which does not bother me too much, as long as that double pitch stays away. And we have a 4-6-10. It's an amazing, amazing thing how many 10s are actually rolling today. And this is where I get in the pocket of numbers, but this is where all the numbers start catching up a little bit. So this is where a lot of the numbers that are deficient in my throwing start catching up to become that average. But this is where you can also take advantage of the betting, where you can start betting the pocket numbers, the signature numbers for the day. Terrible throw, but we end up with a 3-3-6 hard 6. As Brian goes, any pair, I don't care. And that's been a big thing lately also. on a lot of the YouTubers have been talking about different hardware parlay type systems. So a lot of people are doing that. If you guys want to check some of those videos out, I know that Alfredo's been talking about it. I know that 5-1 Mixer, Cheryl talks about that in the chat, and I get it. I know Ed Robinson's been doing some stuff with it. I know that Alfredo's been doing some stuff with it. So that's been kind of a hot topic. We have approximately 16 throws left for the day, somewhere in that ballpark. And you saw how tight those were together, guys. That was almost a chopper toss. That left die landed underneath the right die, so they twisted in the air, and that dice never moved. It sat right there. We have a 2-5-7, and that is a 7-out double pitch. And it happens occasionally with me, but that's not as often, which is a good thing because I don't like to see that dice trap. I actually do want to see them come off the back wall. I actually want to see them barely hit the wall and roll off. That's what my goal is. So when it traps like that, that means that I actually twist my wrist just a little bit at the end. Versus that one where you saw they landed right next to each other. Both came up and they came down. We have a 1-5 mixer again. So that's the type of throw that I'm actually looking for. So they land right next to each other, hit the wall, and they come straight off that wall without flying left or right, with much deviation. Now when hit the mixing bowl, we have a 5-6 mid-bow yo. Isn't that ironic how I just said it came off the mixing bowl, KitchenAid mixer, we end up with the 5-6 mid-mo yo. I hope you appreciate that one, Chiro. And we have a 6-6 midnight. And we have a 2-6-8. 8 came easy, easy 8. And we have a 1-6-7, which is the bad 7. That's a 7-out. That was another short roll. We're going to go through the statistics in a little bit when we're done here. We have about 10 throws left here. Hopefully longer. Hopefully have a longer roll. But we'll go through the statistics for this throwing session for the 150 throws when we're done here. So if you guys want to hang in. Dice were tight together. They split straight apart when they landed. We have a 6-4-10. Neither one of them touched the back wall, which is kind of weird. That's a great question, Craig. Why does Chris from Sideshow Gamble call the 5-1 the mixer? I'm curious to hear that answer as well. Because that seems like a weird name, but it's become habit to call it out. 6-2-8, easy 8. And then let's ask Chiro also why he feels that he's entitled to use the 5-6 Minmo Yo name. That's just kidding. That's just a joke. Come on, the dice keep on splitting apart here. There we go. And we have a 5-6 Minmo Yo. We talk about it and it shows. So we're getting down to the end of the session here, guys. Hang with me. We'll go through the results in a little bit here. And we have a 4-6-10. Whoops, that was a 4-6, guys. It just flipped. But that's Waylon's best friend on the end, Papa Joe. Craig is asking in the chat why the splitting like that happens. And I kind of covered it just a little bit ago. There's two different splitting that you can see. One is when the dice split apart in the air, and that's because what's happening is you're pushing with that thumb and they split. Whoops. Let's see if I can do that a little bit lower in the camera so you guys can see that. So you're pushing with that thumb and they split apart. The type of splitting they're just seeing with me right now is they're hitting down and they actually split out to the side. And the reason that happens is because they're coming down either too tight, and when they hit, they split, which is what that one did, or they're coming down too tight on a slight angle. And then this one will kind of sit and this one will split way out. So that's kind of what's happening with the dice right now. Hopefully that explains your question. So we've got 6 more rolls approximately. And the reason mine are not splitting much in the air, we have a 2-4-6, is if you go back to some of my earlier videos, the white belt is we've worked on it really heavily, as well as the yellow and the orange. But oh, why they're splitting when I set the dice, that's what you're asking. Okay, well, you got a good explanation of the other one as well. The reason the dice are splitting when I'm setting the dice is because when I roll, I have that pressure on that thumb. You just saw just what happened if I don't have my fingers on the outside right. So I roll and they split apart. If you guys can see that on the dice on the table there. When I do set the dice, what I'm trying to do is I push down in the corner with my index and my ring finger or my pinky finger on the dice so they stay tight together. And if I don't push down evenly, what happens, they either split a little bit or they also go off square just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on the camera there. They're off square just a little bit. That's the two things that does happen if I don't push down evenly and hold in tight on the dice there. So hopefully that answers the question now. The other thing is if they stay tight together, but when I rotate it back, if they're not square, what I do is I take my middle finger and I push it down tight into the table, and that usually squares the dice off. That's one of the little tricks that I do that I've never really talked about much. So I'll push my middle finger down so that way the dice do come out square. Now they're tight together. And we have another Minmo Yo, 6-5 Minmo Yo. So that is really showing a lot right now, 6-5. That throw was a little bit low, but we have a ace deuce Alfredo sauce, 2-3. Thank you, Craig. Now you use the par style grip, and I'm gonna go through that really quick with you because that's one grip that I have not really perfected because of that specific problem that you're talking about, Craig, with the dice splitting apart. So my thumb is dominant. When I try to get in that par grip, they split apart. So one of the things that I need to do is when I'm using that par grip, I set up my index finger and my thumb so they're touching at the same time. And then you add in your ring finger and your index finger. Now, one of the things you could do is if they do split like this, take your fingers and push them together and then replace your index finger in. So if that makes sense, I don't know if you could see that what I did that on the camera. So if you're using that par grip and they split apart, use your index finger and your or your pinky finger to push them together, and then just replace your index finger. And again, I don't use the par grip that often for that specific reason because the dice do split apart on me with that. And that's why I'm going with this Yuri grip because it's easier for me to get into without having to look at it. I go mostly by feel. And we have a 6-2-8, easy 8. And that was another example where they landed and they split straight apart because they were too close. But we have a 4-1-5, no field 5. They both went tight up against the opposite walls. That was a really big split. So we're going to finish out this shooter and then we'll be done for the day. We'll go through our statistics at the end of the shooter. And we have a 2-3-5, no field 5. So we're just going to fly through these quick to get them done. Hopefully it's a long roll. Now they're talking about splitting, that's all they're doing is splitting apart on me. And we have a 4-5-9 center field 9. And just so everybody knows, I did open up memberships on the channel. If you are interested in supporting the channel, we have a 617, that is a bad 7, and that is a 7 out, so that'll be the end of our rolls. But if you want to support the channel, guys, all the money that I am going to be making off the memberships will be going towards my throwing build. And that throwing build that I have, guys, is going to be, I'm going to be putting on video, but I'm going to be donating the end product to the Craps for Cure coming up in November, assuming that I can get it done in time. And this build is going to be a deluxe build. It's going to cost me roughly around the $800 or so $100 mark to build it. But keep that in mind. Let's go through the really quick statistics here. We had some good throws going forward here. We had a 26, a 13, a 14, 12, 12, 9, 9, 9, and then a bunch of smaller rolls. You look on the chart on the end, and that was our last couple throws. So we had 19 shooters in total. So if you look at those numbers, guys, there really was not that many bad throws. We actually had quite a few big throws going on there. So anyhow, I thank you guys, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Hey, my name is Joan. This is my Craps Master Dice Shooting Journey. Let's make